This video is dedicated to the Godfather of the dead, George A. Romero. Stay tuned. Hello there. This is, like I said, a special edition of Horror Talk. Because it's a tribute to the late great George A. Romero, known for many horror stuff, including the modern zombie. So this is a tribute to him. So born George Andrew Romero on February 4th, 1940 in Bronx, New York, America. His occupation, he was a American-Canadian filmmaker, film director, screenwriter, editor, producer. Yeah, he was, pretty much a lot of things, a filmmaker. He married 3 times and had 3 kids. So, other names he had were the Godfather of the dead, or father of the zombie films. So, throughout his career, he's done quite a lot throughout his career, because it's like he's got like a career spanning at least almost 5 decades now, and it's nearly 50 years since he did his first ever movie in 1968, Night of the Living Dead. That was written, directed, edited, and produced by him. He even had a small cameo in it as a Washington news reporter on the TV. It was done on a low budget, but that was, it was just a thing he did, with some friends on the weekends. Never really did much. He just didn't do much at the weekend and just filmed the film, Night of the Living Dead. And it's in black and white, but that's because it was a low budget film. But even in black and white, I think it works. I used to think it. You can see it in colour remastered, but it's not as good, not as graphic or anything. But it was because of that film we have the modern day zombie we still see today. Before George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead, we had all zombies were just like all they could talk and everything and that and eat brains, but Romero, he gave us like the modern zombie where it's like and they eat flesh and that, and he's left a legacy there because we use those kind of zombies in other films such as the Walking Dead, films and shows such as The Walking Dead. iZombie, their zombies aren't like all rotten and everything, but if they don't eat brains, they'll go all like undead zombie. And they call that going Romero, so you can see the lasting effect that his career has had on zombie films. And that. So, in 1971, he wrote and edited, and that the film 1971. There's Always Vanilla. That wasn't really horror; it was romantic comedy. But that was his second film. I mean, he wasn't known as the the like pioneer we know him as today. Night of the Living Dead, as well, as I forgot to mention, was very risky because it had a lead black actor in the film, and he got killed at the end. And he premiered that around the same week Martin Luther King was assassinated. So, at the time this was quite a big deal, but now you just won't think much of it. So 1971, Always Vanilla. In 1973, he had two big films out. Well, films that are cult definitely have a lot of his low budget films and that do have quite the cult followings. 1973, he had a film out that he wrote and directed called Season of the Witch, and that he edited that as well. 1973, he also had the original film The Crazies out, which I haven't seen, but I have seen the remake. Uh, and George does have a cameo in it as the mayor of in the film The Crazies, but like I said, I've not really seen that one. That one, but I have seen the remake. Maybe I need to look for the original and watch that. Next, after 1973, he laid low for a while until 1978 when we got Martin, that he wrote, directed, edited, produced, even acted in as a character called Father Howard. Um, Martin was about a teenager that was not just going through puberty, but vampirism as well. Trying to resist temptation and that to blood. Um, I haven't seen much of that film, but I've read up on it and stuff. And of course, 1978, he came back to I think it is a sequel. Well, it's part of the franchise that he's done, the Dead franchise. 1978, he had the infamous. Oh, Martin was in 1978. 1978, he had Dawn of the Dead that he wrote, produced, edited, and even had a small role in as a TV director in the film. Again, this is what gave us the whole refuge cliche, like in a zombie apocalypse, barricade yourself in a big shopping mall, and people do that in some. I mean, they remade this film in 2004. Obviously with his blessing. And the remake is good as well, but the original sort of also has some small comedic parts in it. But I'm not 100%. But it did inspire the 2004 horror comedy Shaun of the Dead. So moving on. He also in 1981 wrote and directed the film Knight Rider, which I think is a horror. It is a horror, but I've not really seen that. That one. 1982, he directed the anthology horror Creepshow. Creepshow was an anthology horror film based on short films, stories based on Stephen King, and he directed that one. 1982. And then in 1985, so again, not many films till then, 1985, he made another film that he wrote and directed called Day of the Dead, which again is part of his zombie franchise. I ought to do just like a horror talk discussion where it's just like his Dead franchise, but this is the filmography and that of George A. Romero. Also in 1985, he edited a documentary that he was also in called Document of the Dead, which was, I think, a documentary film on the zombie genre, how he changed it and stuff. And that. What else? 1982. He wrote Creepshow 2, which was a follow-up to the it wasn't 1982. I think it was also 1985. I can't remember now, but he wrote the second one, Creepshow 2, I think. Creepshow 2. Also, he wrote and directed another horror in 1988 called Monkey Shines, which I've heard a lot of stuff about. Monkey Shines. Yeah, Monkey Shines. By the look of what I've seen of it, it is about some sort of a monkey, those classic monkey toys with the symbols. And then, of course, in 1990, he wrote the anthology spin off film Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. Now, he produced the TV series, and yeah, he wrote this one. Well, he had involvement with it. And then in 1990, he wrote and directed the film Two Evil Eyes, which I've seen once, but a very long time ago. I think I need to give that a rewatch. It must be a good, God, about good 10 years now. And then, of course, he screenplayed the Night of the Living Dead remake from 1990, directed by Tom Savini. The remake, I'm not a huge fan of. It's got very big similarities to the original, only we got Tony Todd in the lead role as the black American man. Can't remember his name. He also had a small cameo role in Silence of the Lambs as an FBI agent. I must, that's a cameo I clearly missed because, well, I don't ever recall ever seeing him in that film, but it says he was in it. In 2000, so, I think, he just seemed to die down a little bit in the filmmaking for a while until 2000, is it? Yeah, 2000, when he wrote and directed the film The Dark Half. Again, I don't know what that film is. I've not seen it. In fact, I never even heard of it till I did all my research on it, on his filmography. But yeah, and of course he also had, they had his approval to redo Dawn of the Dead as well, where it's very similar to the original, only more fast-paced sequences in it. It's like, just the characters are like more, how can I put it, developed and that and stuff, and they're very resourceful and fast. But yeah, I like that one. Then, a year later, 2005, he wrote and directed and even had a cameo as the puppeteer in the 2005 apocalyptic futuristic horror Land of the Dead, which I consider to be in his Dead franchise, set in a future where humans are still surviving after a zombie apocalypse, and they little do they know that the zombies are actually somehow learning, being led by a zombie called Big Daddy. Yeah. And then we have 2 years later in 2007, which he made another cameo in as the police chief. He wrote and directed the film Diary of the Dead, which I do like. When I was younger, I looked at this film and thought, God, it looks scary because it's real. I was really starting to embrace horror back then. But yeah, I did enjoy that one, Diary of the Dead, or found footage and that. I like found footage films. So, then in 2008 there was a documentary, I think. Was it a documentary dedicated to him? Called Dead On, The Life and Cinema of George A. Romero. I don't know that one, but I'm assuming it's a documentary with him in it. Then 2009, from what I can recall, is the last sort of film he ever made, wrote, directed, Survival of the Dead. Again, not heard of this one. I might have to look for that. There's so many films here that George A. Romero has done. but I've only seen like a handful, so I really need to like try and look more into these films of the filmography of George A. Romero. But yeah, throughout his life, he has had a great career. He, his, I mean, he started working from, let's see, uh, year of active throughout the years from 1960 to 2017. So he never retired, but unfortunately, um, George A. Romero. I mean, I didn't know this either. I mean, none of us did until like very recently. Um, just over a week ago. It'll be at least a week over since when this is up on my channel. So yeah, George A. Romero was often noted as an influential pioneer of the horror film genre, and has been called an icon and the father of the dead. His career active. He had his whole active career from 1960 to 2017, but sadly, on the 16th of July 2016, George A. Romero died in his sleep following a brief but aggressive battle with lung cancer, unfortunately, and while listening to a score from his favourite films, one of his favourite films, The Quiet Man, with his wife, Susanna, his current wife, Susanna, who's now a widow, and his daughter, Tina Romero, at his bedside. Which I think is a peaceful way to go. I mean, he went peacefully in his sleep, but yeah. He was truly, like they say, a great icon. So, rest in peace, George A. Romero, and thank you for all the entertainment and horror you've given us throughout the decades. You will be sorely missed, and you will be not forgotten. Safe journey. So this has been a Horror Talk special, a tribute and the filmography of George A. Romero. Uh, you know, Let me know down in the comments what's your favourite film of his. Do share that in the comments, and if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to share with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more from this channel, and to hit that notification bell to be notified every time a new video is uploaded. So yes, until next time, don't have nightmares.